I've been on quite a few film sets in my almost 10 years of freelancing, and in this video I'm going to break down exactly the total for how many I've actually worked on. Let's start way back in 2012 where I bagged my first ever project as a camera assistant. During my second year of university, I made friends with a third year cinematography student who ended up getting me on this short film in London. This was the first time working with a proper crew that weren't students but actual real life freelancers out there working in the industry. So it was quite an important and crucial film shoot for me because it made me realize and opened my mind to what post-graduation life might look like for me. I still have a memory of trying to help out with lights at some point, and I was asked to build my first ever Octodome, and I failed miserably because I couldn't figure out how to put the rods in properly to build it. But now thank you for companies like Aperture who have made building Octodomes a complete breeze. In 2013, I worked on 5 projects, 2 as a focus puller, 2 as a camera assistant, and 1 as a gaffer. 4 of these were short films, and 1 of them was a low-budget feature film, half shot in LA and half shot in London, but unfortunately, I got the half-cold London side of the project. 1 of the short films was a graduation project from some of the students in the year above me, and this was a really cool project because it was my first ever time working with one of the Red cinema cameras, in particular the Red Scarlet. 2014, I worked on a total of 14 projects, so that's more than double of the previous year. And I was also a cinematographer on 5 projects versus absolutely none the year before. This was the year that I graduated from film school and moved back up north close to Manchester, and many of my hours were just spent cold calling, cold emailing companies just to get my foot in the door, to get more experience and to get some money to support myself. I also shot my first ever music video this year, which was a defining experience for me and really cemented my whole love for the medium. 2015, and again I boosted the number of film projects right up to 19. Predominantly, I was doing a lot of work as a lighting technician on a bunch of commercial projects, mainly sourced from a lighting hire company that I happened to bump into when I was doing running work on a Coors Light commercial. After pestering the owner of this company many times over the phone, just trying to let him get me on a film shoot, eventually I got offered a trainee job working on probably the hardest shoot that I've ever had to do in my whole career. A 4 a.m. morning call in an indoor ski slope, having to lug around massive lights on my shoulder through the snow for about 14 hours for the whole day. My God, it was bloody horrible. If I was ever going to quit the film industry, it would have been right there and then. But hey, I guess I impressed Chris the gaffer enough on this shoot because he proceeded to get me on project after project, including a really cool commercial for the sports brand Puma. That year was incredibly fundamental to my whole knowledge as a filmmaker because I was able to learn how many different cinematographers light on set, about the etiquette of being on a film shoot and what it requires to work together collaboratively, how to use many different kinds of different and incredibly expensive lighting gear, and perhaps most importantly, I built some really strong relationships with rental companies and fellow filmmakers that when it came to shooting my own cinematography projects, I was able to get some absolutely ridiculous deals to help make them look as good as they could be. I'm talking like tens of thousands of pounds worth of equipment rental that I was able to basically get for almost nothing. And I really took full advantage of this in 2016 where I shot 8 of my own projects. I also continued to expand my freelance network working as a lighting technician, working on content for Euro 2016, Harrods, Aldi, and even Sony. Remember Sony? Remember when we worked together on that project? All this left me with a total of 34 projects under my belt, the highest total of any year that I had ever had at that point. And when 2017 came around, I matched the same amount of projects for the whole year. Some of the coolest projects of my film career happened during these 12 months. Being the cinematographer on music videos for 2 massive artists like Becky Hill and Sonny Fodera, and a lighting job at Manchester City Football's training ground where we basically spent all day following around the manager Pep Guardiola. I also had a more interesting project where I ended up spending weeks prepping for a short film, and then by the end of it, I ended up having to threaten the director and producer with legal action because they weren't gonna pay me essentially. But that's definitely a story for a whole nother video. 2018 and my yearly total just plummeted down to 7 for the entire year. And the simple answer to why is that I only really did 4 months of that whole year, because in April I decided to make a huge decision to just uproot my life and move over here to Budapest, Hungary to start working for a YouTube channel that I'd admired for so long. So I was able to squeeze in a few shoots before the majority of my life was just spent focusing on leveling up this YouTube channel's video production. 2019 I just shot 1 project, which was a music video for an upcoming Hungarian Hungarian musician saying away. And that really is the harsh reality of deciding to move to another country. Because even if you're still on good terms with all of the network and contacts that you have back home, you're likely not going to be the first person that they want to call, because unless the budget is really big, just having to have you as an extra expense to fly back home doesn't really make sense to them when you're just not around as much. And also, you not being in the filmmaking scene within a particular city or country that you live in kind of just pushes you out of the loop a little bit. I'm not saying it's impossible to start up a whole network in a completely different country or city, but it definitely still requires going a little bit back to the drawing board of when you first started reaching out to people within the film industry. In 2020, I actually did fly back to the UK just to shoot a music video project with a very close collaborator of mine. But then this pesky virus that I can't remember the name of kind of hit the whole planet and everything just slowed to a crashing halt. But it was also a catalyst that got me the opportunity to shoot my first ever 4 million plus viewed music video. Purely because things were locked down so badly in the UK, me being a cinematographer, having all my own gear and living here in Budapest, I was really the first choice for this production company to hire to actually shoot this music video all in our apartment. But we all know the real reason they hired me was so I could flex my incredible DiCaprio-esque acting abilities. I made a whole breakdown of this video right here. I also shot 2 more music videos for the Hungarian artist Saying Away, completing my first ever trilogy of music video projects with a single artist. And this ended my year of 2020 with 5 projects. 2021, things dropped right down to just a single music video project, but this actually ended up being perhaps the best music video that I've ever made to date. It was also the year that I decided to kickstart my whole journey here on YouTube with regular uploads every month. So, the moment of truth. From 2012 right up until 2021, I worked on a total of 121 film projects. Here's a breakdown organizing these film projects per shoot type, and here's another one breaking down the 121 projects into the specific roles that I undertook. Keep in mind that I've also excluded a bunch of other film-related projects that I've worked on, like YouTube content, projects that I just color graded or edited, all of the film school projects that I worked on as part of my course's curriculum, and any rigging or setting up that I've done on a bunch of shoots. I've probably also forgotten a bunch of random freebie projects that I helped out on just to help a friend make a short film that they always wanted to, because every day when making this video I'm always like, oh yeah, what about that project that I worked on filming that random factory in the middle of the night with crap weather? Oh yeah, that was a horrible shoot, no wonder I can't remember it. You might have noticed that I totaled from 2021 rather than this whole year of 2022, because the truth is I haven't stepped 1 foot on a film set for this whole year, which initially upon realizing this just led me down a whole negative path of imposter syndrome, questioning why the hell anybody would listen to anything that I have to say at all on YouTube if I wasn't actively working on projects. I shared more musings about this topic on an Instagram post if you're curious. But the amount of time and headspace that I've had this year to just dedicate towards so many other areas of my life, things like a super solid weekly exercise routine, growing this YouTube channel to over 4.7 thousand subscribers, thank you all by the way, and chilling with the 2 newest additions to my whole family, which is my lovely pussycats and also my beautiful girlfriend, are things that I'm just incredibly grateful to have. And ultimately the freedom that I have now never really would have happened if I didn't go out of my comfort zone to cold call all of these companies and to spend hours and hours just working on so many different film shoots. To then apply all of these skills to my newest pursuit of managing and creating content online for what I consider to be the future of filmmaking, which is YouTube and social media platforms. Does this mean that I'm done with working on film projects for good? Well, I wouldn't say so. If anything, this path of content creation that I've gone down will hopefully help me skip past the traditional hierarchical filmmaking ladder by way of sharing my knowledge online and building up an amazing community of fellow creatives. And hopefully this will provide me with some stable financial freedom in the not too distant future, that when music videos do start coming my way again, I'll happily be able to say yes to them because I want to, not because I need to. Click this playlist over here to see a bunch of super interesting music video breakdowns. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because if you don't, I'm gonna send you on a 24-hour film shoot to the Arctic tundra, filming polar bears from a suspiciously close distance. They just love the taste of filmmakers. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.